Hey y'all, so we're here at this very muddy storage and the Thomas is back. Here's the Bluebird. So I did more Bluebird as well. We've had a leak coming in like right above the driver's window corner of the windshield there, so I put some silicone goop on the marker light there and on the mirror brackets, and I did the mirror brackets on this side just to be sure too. I also, while I was at Chalk's last week, I bought lens gaskets for the marker lights. So I've done all 5 amber marker lights up here. What you guys really want to hear about is the Thomas. So, let's go over here. So, there's the rear axle. Danny, my buddy, at the scrapyard, changed the whole rear end out. The entire rear end. Let me see if I can get a better shot here. There we go. Yeah, I apologize that the yoke looks a little dirty. It sat outside in the open for a little while, so it got some surface rust on it. No big deal. But here's the cool part. The good part, there was good news and bad news. Good news is I got a whole new rear axle. He ended up swapping that axle that I showed off in my previous video with the brand new brakes. So I need to get the tires. These tires have some pretty good meat on them though, so I may keep them. I don't know. He forgot to put my other tires back on this side. Those are not the brake chambers, the rusty looking brake chambers that were on that axle. Those are my brake chambers. So I was able to keep my noisy air brakes. So they are still very much sounding the exact same as they did before. The old brake chambers that were on this axle for the late 90s, they're more quiet. They don't make really much of a noise. So it's nice to have my classic air brake noises with this still. So that's cool. So if you remember in my previous video, I showed how rusted out those chambers were, so I'm glad he swapped these on. For comparison, I believe the Bluebird has a J190 axle. Actually, it doesn't. I think it's a different axle. It's a totally different looking pumpkin. But it's got that bar across the top, which is what the Thomas has had on it as well. The N190 and the Thomas, which came in the 90s models, has a smaller differential, and it doesn't have that weird molding on it. So it looks almost just like a plain Jane differential. You can't really see it good just because the brake chambers are in the way, but it's just a plain differential. You guys saw it before though, so he didn't end up pulling the third member, obviously, so which is good. This one, the N190 differential, is smaller than the J190. If you notice, this section of drive shaft looks pretty nice. It's because I had to go down to Chalk's. So that is a larger U-joint than what I had before. That's called a 1550 series Spicer U-joint, which is 5 inches across. The old 1480 style, which is right here, is 4 1/4 inches across. So we couldn't find it. They didn't have a yoke in stock that fit the axle, and they're like, it's cheaper just to get the differential done, or the drive shaft done. I said, okay. So we got an all new everything back here, so it's nice and clean and good looking. I hope that's not my seal leaking. I don't think that is. I think they, you know what, it's not. So Danny told me when he did this, he said it hadn't looked like this thing had been greased in some time, so he went ahead and greased it. So he really took good care of me. So the whole chassis got greased. So I'm sure you guys are wondering about speed. So, it's a huge difference. Granted, you know, like I said before, this was a 6.14 gear in the back of this, and now it's a 4.78. So, for those of y'all wondering, still the same noisy air brakes. Okay, speed-wise. So, on a hill, I have to use first gear to take off now. It lugs too much in second gear on a hill. However, if I'm on flat ground, second gear has a lot more longer range. I don't have to shift out of it for until about 15 miles an hour, which is kind of like the AT545 and MT643 first gears. So that's really cool. When I brought it home, when I got on the toll road, I realized on the on-ramp that I was still in 5th direct. I hadn't even shifted to overdrive yet, and I was doing about 50. Once I shifted into overdrive, I was able to get up to 70 miles an hour at 2,300 RPMs. So before, 68 miles an hour was about all it would go, and that was pushing it right at the 30 mark, just about. So I was running 2,300 at 70. I still had plenty more RPMs to go, but it just, we had a headwind that day, and it just didn't have enough oomph to push it. So I'm thinking I'm going to turn the fuel up just a teeny bit in this thing, but it did really well. I promise I will get a driving video soon. Next up, I think, besides the LED warning lights and the Bluebird, is all these seat cushions I got out of that one Bluebird. That's about enough to do half the seats in the Bluebird right now. I'm going to hopefully replace the seat foams as well, because they're just in such horrible shape. They're just disgusting, and yeah, they've gotten dirty again, so might as well change them out while I'm at it. The LED warning lights that I got from 9SB19, they were Doran CRS warning lights. I figured out how to make them not strobe because they don't have a steady option. It required some electrical rewiring, but they work great now. So they're going to go in the reds on the Bluebird. They have removable lenses. So the regular Weldon lenses from the Bluebird will go on top of them, because they were removed because their lenses were too faded. So as for the ambers, I'm going to use those bulbs I got. I just need to modify the clips that hold them in. So this thing will be getting some LED warning lights soon. And it'll be getting LED headlights too, because I have an identical set like I had in the Thomas here, waiting to go into the Bluebird. So yep, I will do a driving video soon. I need to clean the Thomas too, because the roof just looks so horrible. But it's back, and it's rocking and rolling now. I can't wait to take this thing on a road trip. So anyway, that's it for now. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for being with me throughout everything. And if anybody has any Bluebird seat covers they want to get rid of, I need a full set for my Bluebird. As long as they're clean. I would love to have some with the piping on them, which is the little... I don't have any seat covers here in the Thomas with piping. I think, yeah, the old driver's seat does. We'll go back there. So these little white strips here are called piping. So if anybody has any Bluebird seat covers that are not high back that they would be willing to part with, send them my way. Otherwise, I'm just keeping an eye out when my buddy Danny at his scrapyard gets Bluebirds in, because if he gets a good set, I would love to put either burgundy or blue in it. So it just depends. I think the burgundy might look better against the tan interior, but we'll see. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for now. Again, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see y'all next time.